All right. Good evening. I am calling to order the August 26, 2025 Fountain City Council meeting. If able, please stand with us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mayor Thompson.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Rick.
Here.
Councilmember Hinton. Here. Councilmember Geek. Here. Councilmember Estes.
Here.
Councilmember Hersberg.
Here.
Councilmember Duncan.
Present.
I have 7 members present.
All right, thank you. That takes us on to item 4, public to be heard. Citizens may address the council on items that are not on the agenda. Council may not be able to provide an immediate answer, but will direct staff to follow up. Out of respect for the council and others in attendance, please limit your comments to 5 minutes or less. And I have 2 cards tonight, and the first one I have is from John Langley from American Legion.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council. I see that the agenda changed a little bit since the last time I was here, so I was glad to see that we get to come up here and talk a little bit sooner. All right, so this summer, we had a golf tournament, and we were able to raise a little over $13,000. And that $13,000 that we've raised is going to be able to go to children and youth that are in the community around here. So when I talk about our Legion family, I'm talking about the Legion itself, the American Legion Auxiliary, the Sons of the American Legion, and the American Legion Riders. So when I say a family event, that's what we're talking about, all those entities. But I would just like to let you know, we heard that the Fountain Valley Senior Center was dealing with less money for this year, and we were able to donate $4,000 to them for that. Thank you. Labor Day, we're going to be participating in the Fountain Parade that's going to be run by the Chamber of Commerce here, and we're going to have our motorcycles up front leading the whole parade. Then we'll be back there with my truck and the trailer, and they'll be handing out flags as they go down the pathway. Starting on September the 1st, running till October 31st, our auxiliaries doing a coat drive at Fountain, Fountain, and those donations for coats are going to be for kids. We asked for new coats for kids, and they're going to be donated to children at Jordahl. We're also collecting gently used or new items that we can give to the homeless around the area also. Going into October, we're going to be having our Oktoberfest, where we're going to be having Jaeger Schnitzel and the fixins there. And then the last thing that I got on my list to talk about today is our Veterans Day service will be on Veterans Day this year because Colorado Springs is doing their parade on that Saturday. And just getting people from the parade over there in time by 11 o'clock made it hard, so we're going to do it on Veterans Day itself. And we'll do a flag raising right at 11 o'clock, and then we will roll into a ceremony inside, and then fixings afterwards, so some free food afterwards. Do y'all have any questions? All right, thank you very much for your time.
No, thank you, guys. That's a fantastic amount of money you guys raised, and thank you so much for donating to our senior center. They are desperately in need, so I really, really appreciate it. And we have a couple seniors in the back row today that really, truly appreciate that money from you guys, so thank you. All right, second card I have is from Carl Christian. If you could come down, push the center button. Yep.
Good evening, Carl Christian. I'm here tonight.
Just 1 second. Can we restart the time, please? Thank you.
I'm here tonight. I have a couple Fountain Mutual Irrigation shares of water that I'm wanting to sell, and I'd like to offer them to the city of Fountain first before I go out to other people. The water's pretty popular. A lot of people want to buy it. So, but I mean, all my loyalty lies at the city. So I'd like to offer it to you guys first, and you know, if you don't want it, that's fine. There's lots of other people that want to buy it. So.
Oh, I thought I heard donation. I didn't hear donation.
No, water's pretty expensive.
I know, I'm trying. You know, people are always yelling at us about the budget, we don't care about money, so I'm trying all the time.
Yeah, it's pretty expensive.
Okay, so, and I appreciate you coming forward to state this in public, and I'm just gonna state this in public because you are a city employee, and I think you're trying to be really, really above and aboard on this, and I really appreciate that, and I think that's very vital to our community, so thank you for coming down. Scott, what would be the next step on that then?
Well, if the council wants us to pursue that, then we would do a little bit of research. We'd find out more information and get some values, find out what, for example, Whitefield's paying for it and paying for the same water, and come back to the council with a proposal
Well, I know I would be.
in public.
Right, and I know
Yeah.
I would be interested in pursuing that. What is everybody else?
And I just want to say, Carl's been, a city employee for a long time, but his family has been in Fountain for quite some time. And I'm just appreciative that you even considered just offering that to us. I know it's not free, but to give us the first bite at the apple. I really do appreciate your service and your loyalty to the city of Fountain. Thank you, brother.
Your mom would be proud.
Yeah, I hope.
She is, yeah.
Okay, thank you, guys. Have a good evening.
Thank,
We'll
okay,
touch base with you, Carl.
Okay, thanks, Scott.
all right, thank you. All right, that takes us to the end of public to be heard. And that takes us on to item 4.1, presentations and Safe Streets for All Action Plan update by City Engineering. And we have our timer here. So Mr. Fred is all ready to go. So 5 minutes for this one. Okay. Good evening, Abba.
Good evening, Madam Mayor Council. I am Abba Dwevetti, and I'm going to present a brief update on Safe Streets for All action planning. In 2024, Fountain applied for Safe Streets for All grant, and we received about $235,000 with 20% local match from Federal Highway Administration. In April of 2025, we hired Wilson and Company to develop our first safety action plan. The safety action plan is basically a basic building block that will help us improve safety citywide. And once the safety action plan is developed, then we will apply for implementation grant, and hopefully that will help us fund some of the unsafe intersections and roadway projects throughout the city. So there are 8 basic building blocks that comprise within the action plan, and one of them is community engagement. So we had our first open house in July 2025 in the City Hall to let everybody know what the project is about and get feedback from public. If you know anybody that missed the open house, we want to let everybody know that a virtual online open house is available until September 12th, which will tell you what the project is about and will give you means to provide your feedback. Next slide, please. So I'm going to walk through the process, how you can get to the city website or project website and virtual open house. So if you go to city website, www.fountain.colorado.gov, down below under hot topics, you will see Fountain Safety Action Plan. If you click that, that will take you to, next slide, to the project's website. On the top right corner, you will see the blue button, go to virtual open house. If you click that, that will take you to the virtual open house. If you click that play button, that will take you to the boards that were presented in the open house. Down below the I, which is information icon, that will provide you the information of what was presented on the board on the day of open house. And then if you pan to the right, that will take you to next couple of boards. Next slide, please. So to provide your feedback, if you go back to the project website, you will see the homepage, crash data, resources, get involved buttons on the top. If you click get involved, it will take you to the interactive comment map and the survey. It will also, down below, it will also show you the comment form. So the easiest way is to really email us on the project email, or you can even type your feedback on the comment form. That comes to us. We will compile your comments and include that within our interactive map. So if you click the interactive map or survey, that takes you to this window. The window is kind of split in two. Like I said, email us or survey, click on survey. For the interactive map, if you drop a pinpoint on the map and fill out the window on the right, that will take your input, and right now we have about 9 contributions. So we're looking for more, and really any feedback regarding safety in the city is really valuable to us. Next slide, please. Some of the next steps are crash analysis. We're reviewing the crash patterns. We're prioritizing the projects based on those crash patterns and high injury network. Timeline, we want to finish the project by April of 2026. Some of the upcoming public meetings will likely be in November and February, so please keep an eye out. We will advertise the time, date, and place on city website and city Facebook page. That is all I have for today. Thank you. Any questions?
Okay, thank you. So this particular one is just for the city of Fountain. So if you have a street, an intersection, or something around town that you think needs improvement, this is the place to report it, because this is what they're going to be looking at and, you know, for the studies. So if, you know, everybody's got their favorite half a dozen intersections around town, so
Yeah.
this is the place to report them. Colorado, if you have one in Colorado Springs, they're doing their own study that would be on their city Facebook page, and Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments is doing the rest of the region. So if you want to reach outside just your city, because there's a mountain road that you think is dangerous or whatever, that, you can go to the various different ones to report things in different areas. But super job on getting this done. It was very informative, so thank you very much. All right. That takes us to Fountain Valley Chamber of Commerce update. And looks like Mr. Blankenship's getting up there, okay.
Can I unplug this thing? I think it might serve to be a distraction to my presentation.
That's the point.
That's the point. Okay, well, whoever's keeping track, if you can tell me when I get to 9 minutes, is that what that thing will do, is
Yes.
beep at me when I'm at 9 minutes?
Well, when you're at the full time, we allotted you.
Oh, I get it all the way 10 minutes, okay, all
Well,
right.
we can beep you at 9.
Okay, well,
Okay.
I'll try and get through this quickly. But good evening, council. I'm Dan Blankenship. I'm the representative for the city on the Fountain Valley Chamber of Commerce Board. And since August of 2024, I've served as the president. Chris, you want to hit that for me? I want to cover a few topics this evening and talk a little bit about our board and administration, the events, membership and partnership, and then leveraging resources. As far as our board goes, we currently have 9 board members and 1 office administrator. Just a short 18 months ago, we were down to 2 board members and no office administration. So over the last 18 months, we've come a long way. Last October, we established an office presence by adding an office administrator. It took them a few months to figure out which way was up and then to right our ship. From an administrative perspective, though, we're back on track. We have at our office, which is located at the City Hall Annex, just to the east of us. We're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And this has resulted in a pretty significant increase in level of service to our members. For the past few months, I'm very happy to report that for the first time in over 2 years, we have a fully engaged board with the necessary office support, which actually turned out to be a pretty significant accomplishment. In addition to that, we just recently debuted a new website. I would encourage you to take a look at it. Let me know what your thoughts are, but I actually personally think that it looks pretty good, and that's at fountainvalleychamber.com. As far as our partnerships, we have different levels of partnerships, and I'd like to acknowledge what we call our platinum level partners. And we have currently have four of those: Diversus Health, Underline, Black Hills, and the City of Fountain. And I take this opportunity to thank you as the council for your continued support of the Chamber of Commerce, because the city is not only qualifies as a platinum partner because of the financial contribution, but the in-kind contributions that the city provides really elevates the city above all of the other partners in the Chamber of Commerce. And really, if it wasn't for the city's participation, we would be much further limited in what we could do to serve the community. Chris, could I get the next slide, please? Talk a little bit about our events. And through this transitionary period that we've stayed focused on our chamber events, because that we felt like that was really one of the most important things that we do. Last year we had what I felt was really a very successful fall festival, and this year's fall festival is just around the corner. In fact, it's a week from yesterday, next Monday, Labor Day. We have the theme for this year's fall festival is Spirit of the West. You'll see the logo here, but you'll also see another logo here with a C-150 and a 250 down below there. The state of Colorado created a 150th statehood anniversary commission to kind of coordinate events. And so we have been in contact and been working with them, and our event qualifies as an event that will help the state to celebrate the 150th anniversary of statehood, which occurred on August 1st of 1876 when the state of Colorado became the 38th state to join the Union. And it happened during the 100th birthday of the United States, thus the nickname of our state, the Centennial State. So we have a lot of events going on. We start the morning with a junior ROTC breakfast from 7 to 9 at Aragon Elementary, just across the way. At 10 o'clock, the parade starts, Hanover and Maine, and it'll go to Metcalf. I would like to let you know that we do have special arrangements with the city to use the parking lot for handicap parking, or those who have special needs for parking. That will be available, and we'll have people there to help direct you. And then the festival itself will be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. At Metcalf Park. We have a lot of events going on there, a lot of children's activities. We have food trucks, cornhole, and a sand volleyball tournament. We also have a adult beverage garden, also known as a beer garden. As far as other events, we've continued with what we call our Connection Power Hour. That's our monthly breakfast that occurs every Friday at the city's utility customer service building. At that, members are treated to a breakfast. They have an opportunity to showcase their business. We have an informative speaker, and then once the speaker concludes, we have an open networking time. Great time for individuals who attend the meeting to talk with other business owners in the community. We have established a new event called the Coffee Connection. It takes place on the third Friday of each month. It's hosted by a member business, and they usually have it either at their business or at another chosen location. And it's an opportunity for that member to showcase their business, network with others while enjoying coffee and donuts. A week and a half ago, we had it at the Prayer Garden. It was a beautiful morning. It was a great opportunity to learn more about that amenity in our community, and a great opportunity for business owners to network with each other. We also have what is called Business Jive After 5, and that's an after-work networking event. Typically includes food and beverage, and that we don't have a fixed schedule for that. That mostly depends on the host and when they have the ability or want to do that. We did eliminate one event, and that was our lunch event, because it just wasn't very well attended. And we made the decision as a board that whatever we do, we really want to do well. We don't want to send a negative message in anything that we're doing. So that event just really wasn't very popular. It wasn't successful, so we eliminated that. Chris, could you go ahead and move on to the resources? As a benefit to our partners, we have been engaged with other Chamber of Commerce's in the area, and we're now participating in the Chambers of El Paso County and their business after hours. It's a great opportunity to network with others throughout the region, and their next event is going to be September 11th at Dave & Buster's in Colorado Springs. As a member of the Chamber of Commerce, you can an individual can sign up for that and attend that for a $10 fee. And if you see the little flyer here, you'll see the very top where it says, I think, presented by, and you'll see the Fountain Valley Chamber of Commerce right on top. So we've been really reaching out to others to try and help the businesses in this area. The next thing I'd just like to touch on, and Chris, if you could click on that Bringing Local Back. The Chamber Nation is an association of chambers throughout the nation, thus the name Chamber Nation. But they have initiated a program called Bringing Local Back. It's an opportunity for chamber partners to advertise their businesses local. And if you scroll down just a little bit, Chris, we'll get to a video, and I'd like to just play a real short video. I think it's probably about 45 seconds. That's it. We got your back right there. If you could play that for me, I'd appreciate it.
We know that you don't have time. You're running a business, managing people, talking to customers,
Wow. I don't think that's going to work.
and putting out.
And to Chris's defense, I just kind of dropped that on him just a few minutes ago. So I apologize that we can't get that to work. But if you go to our website, there is a page on Bringing Business Back. It's a program that we are looking into and starting to roll out. So I can't give you a whole lot of details about it, but it seems like it's something that would be very beneficial for our local businesses to do advertising and reach out to the community with pretty minimal amount of effort. So stay tuned on Bringing Local Back. Next one, Chris. And I made it before the buzzer. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions from any council members up here? All right, I go home and look up your website, and I look forward to all the changes. And it's great you have the office manned. I think that'll really help a lot.
It makes a huge difference just having that presence, 5 days a week. And it also really got us back on our feet from a business perspective too.
Right. Great job. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, that takes us on to Parks and Recreation Department. Gordy.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council members, and community members. Thank you for allowing me to be here tonight to give you a little update of what Parks has going on. As we go through this briefing, one thing I'd like you to keep in mind is Park is a strong focal point in our community. It's a place where people can gather. It's a place where kids can develop skills and learn life lessons. It's also a great place to volunteer. It's also a great place for celebrations, just like Dan just spoke about. So you've heard me over the last few weeks. We've came in here, we've talked about a lot of projects we got going on tonight. This is probably the most important project we're doing this year and into next year. And what we'll be talking about tonight is our parks, recreation, trails, and open space master plan. This will allow the city to help us staff, along with city council members and the community, guide our decisions into the next 5 to 10 year period, and really help us focus on what the community needs and what the community is asking for. If you would like, before I turn it over to my co-presenter, On the back table back there, there's some little 3x5 cards with a QR code on there. If you haven't had a chance to take this survey, please go online and take it. We need to get to around 400 to 500 surveys, and that gives us some good data and focus points. Right now, we're sitting right at 200, so anybody in the public or in the audience, if you take that survey, it really show us what your needs and what your wants are. So our consultant that's working on this is from Logan Simpson. Her name is Christina, and I'll turn it over to her, and then I'll come back for Q&As. Here's your pointer. Yep.
Awesome, I can do that. Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Christina Keacher-Webb, and like Gordy said, I'm from Logan Simpson. We're a planning design firm based out of Fort Collins, and we do this work all over the Mountain West. And interestingly, one of my first Parks, Recreation, Open Space Trails plan as a consultant almost 12 years ago when I started with Logan Simpson was the Fountain Plan. So I'm excited to be back here nearly a decade later, reviewing and updating your plan. So what is a Parks, Recreation, Open Space, and Trails Plan? And I might use the abbreviation PROS or PROST. It's a vision, it's a guiding document that directs future investments, coordination, partnerships, and efforts within your city. It creates that shared vision around needs for maintaining, updating, and adding to your Parks, Recreation, Open Space, and system. It identifies current needs and challenges and opportunities based on community input, and then identifies future recommendations, phasing, funding, and partnerships. The plan will also review staffing and maintenance operations to provide additional recommendations on your day-to-day operations as well. Why do we need to do this now? Like I said, it's about 10 years old, and it's pretty typical to review and update your guidance and reconnect with your community on what their needs are at that decade timeframe. Also, we know there's been some changes in the Fountain community. Actually, the community, compared to the 10-year plan, has slower growth than what was originally anticipated. But a lot of that growth is around young families, larger households, and then we need to accommodate and address the different needs of that different population and demographics. While Gordy has updated, I think, every playground in every single park over the past decade, there's other aging infrastructure and needs, equipment needs, staffing needs that we need to address. And with all of that updated maintenance and additional parkland, you need to address and realize that there are new opportunities and challenges that come with a growing park and trail system. Also, we'll address needs from the community on new types of activities. Esports, foosball, pickleball was not even mentioned in the plan 10 years ago. So there's new sports, there's new trends in recreation and what people desire and would like to see within their community. Also, having a more updated plan will allow for future funding opportunities. Most grants require that you have an updated plan to say what are the community priorities to make sure that you can get that funding moving forward. So what's our schedule? We started in late spring, early summer. We really got going in earnest in June when we had a big staff meeting. I think every one of your departments from police and fire to planning and economic development were at that meeting. Along with all of the different levels of park staff, from your recreation programming team to your operations team. We met with them, as well as various stakeholders from the Parks Advisory Board, businesses that are in the recreation and outdoor space, as well as adjacent communities and other folks that are providing parks and open space to your communities, namely El Paso County, who provides that level of service to certain parts of the community for open space. We will be doing 3 rounds of engagement throughout this process. We're in that first phase, so engagement will go throughout the planning effort. We're in that phase 1 from May to September. Like I said, that involved that stakeholder interviews, and right now we've had a questionnaire and another mapping tool out as well. We'll talk more about that in a minute. And then The second phase will review preliminary opportunities and recommendations. We plan to have an open house and engagement in October or early November for that. And then the final phase in next spring will be review of the draft plan, those final recommendations, and then coming back to council for your adoption. So during this startup phase, we are gathering GIS data, operations data, staffing data, funding data, all the information that we need to collect and provide these future recommendations. Then we'll move, once we got public input, to match the data as well as benchmarking. So we're benchmarking with similar communities. What are they providing? What are the amenities? What are the amounts of trails? And how are they providing those services to their communities? That's all part of the needs assessment. We'll be developing some financial recommendations and opportunities and other recommendations for either maintaining or expanding and where to add new parks, open space, or trails. And then finally, we'll put together the plan in a concise document that updates the recommendations in the current plan. Okay, so where do you stand now compared to 10 years ago? Maintaining, there's been an addition of about 10 miles of trails, so that's great. You're providing that increase in trails. In 2015, the recommendation was to have a combined 7 acres per 1,000 population. And this level of service number is a national sort of standard for, it varies per community, but that was the recommendation in 2015 to maintain and continue to provide a level of service to your constituents. We've kind of reclassified some of the parks from that plan 10 years ago. But generally, you're maintaining that level of service for total parks. This does include an additional acres of rights-of-way, medians, and other and other services that your Parks Department does to maintain the landscape across this city, not just the parks themselves, but other parts of the mowing operations, cemeteries, and that kind of stuff as well. Okay, a little bit more about the engagement. So like I said, phase 1 outreach is out right now. These are the postcards that are back there that Gordy mentioned. As part of this phase, we created a website online through ArcGIS Online and launched a website that you can go to sign up for updates, and that's where all the information for the future plan deliverables are going to be, as well as how you can engage right now. As part of this process, we've done a press release, social media notifications in both English and Spanish, and then gone to a number of parks. Gordy and his staff have been at Movies in the Park, the Field of Drinks, the Farmers Market. They'll be at the Fountain Fall Festival, and then they've distributed those postcards at the various recreation programming events that they host. So the website's there, postplan / fountainco.hub.arcgsonline.com. And that will be available through the Fall Festival into next week. We're trying to wrap up this phase of engagement. But this includes that questionnaire, that survey that Gordy mentioned. We're gathering information on what people do. So where do they go? What parks do they go to? What programs do they participate in? If they're not participating in parks programming or recreation programming here in Fountain, why are they going to other places and what are they doing at those other recreation centers or other providers, whether that's public recreation centers or private providers as well. We're trying to understand the level of satisfaction, the community's need for improvements or maintaining certain parks, and then also what are the vision for the future, and how are people willing to contribute and recognize that there may be a cost to providing additional amenities to the community. We also have a map where you can drop a pin, you can add a trail. So we'll have to coordinate with the engineering department and probably combine some of that data, especially when a intersection meets a trail that dead ends. We'll have to talk about some of those to provide recommendations for trails as well. Okay, and then I'll wrap that up, and Gordy can take any questions, or we can take any questions, but generally we're looking for feedback on this during this process of what's best about Fountain, what do we want to maintain, is there anything missing, are there key focus areas, and what should our measures of success be? So we'll be looking to address those questions throughout the next couple of phases and come back to you with some preliminary recommendations in the spring. Yeah.
All right, do y'all have any questions for us at this
Right.
time?
Any questions from any council members? Councilmember Hanson.
Yeah, so Gordy, is that, so that card back there that has a QR code to do the survey, is that on the city's webpage too as well, where they can go and do that? Or how can they go, if they don't have that card, how can they go fill out that survey?
You can connect to that through the
Can
recreation.
you lean
page.
over the
You can connect through that through the recreation page as well as the city's homepage. There's a link on there.
Thank you, brother, appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Any questions for anybody else? No? Okay, thank you very much.
All right,
Hopefully we
thank
get a
you.
couple hundred more people at least, to participate in that. All right, thank you. That takes us on to item 4.2, Boards, Commission, and Committee Appointments. We do have an appointment to the Heritage Special Maintenance District tonight. And who's handling that? Okay,
That'll be me, Mayor, tonight.
okay.
Let's see here. Sandra Alley gave us an application to the Heritage Maintenance District. There is currently one open, regular open vacancy and 2 alternate positions. She is with us here in the audience this evening if you had any questions for her.
Okay, all righty. If you want to just come down so we can kind of just put a name and a face together, that'd be great. All right, thank you so much for applying to be on the Heritage Special Improvement Maintenance District. That seems to be a board that struggles to get some new members and keep running along, so thank you for volunteering for that. And does anybody have any questions for her? Did you want to say anything about yourself? And you would need to press the middle button and step up to the mic. You're good. All right. All right. Thank you for being here tonight. Appreciate it. Okay, thank you. What would council like to do with this? Councilmember Geek?
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Sandra Alley to the Heritage Maintenance District Board as a regular member.
Councilmember Estes?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further deliberation? Seeing none, please vote.
Seven yes, motion carried.
All right, congratulations. All righty. Okay, and that takes us on to item 5, correspondence, comments, and ex officio reports. Mr. Trainer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. I just have 2 quick items, and they're both upcoming events. The first one I wanted to put out in advance. That's from 4 to 7 in Metcalf Park. And it's always a fun event for families and kids, and we'll have hot dogs there, but the kids can climb around on backhoes and equipment. And they're also going to have a number of little carnival-like games, that kind of stuff for them. So that'll be a lot of fun. Also, and it sounds like a long ways out, but the planning's starting for the Trunk or Treat event end of October, 10/24. And the reason I put it out there now is because we're reaching out already to different businesses that have been involved over the years, and any business. We love having businesses and nonprofit groups involved with that. And so if you're interested, reach out to us. We've got a list, generally through the chamber, that we've worked with over the years, but we really invite all to come sign up for that, hand out candy for the kids, and it should be another fun event. So just trying to get that on people's radars.
All right, thank you. Anybody else down the row? Chief?
Evening, Mayor and Council. I just want to mention one quick thing is the Fall Festival coming up and the traffic impacts that we'll have on Labor Day, probably between, say, 9:45 to about 11:15, the streets. And we're going to put this out on social media, make sure everybody knows about the traffic impacts and the road closures, but it'll be El Paso Street, Main Street, Ohio, down to the tracks, and of course, all the side streets that those impact. We learned a little bit last year about exiting some neighborhoods that people were unable to because either the parade route, the floats and everything blocked it or whatever. But so we're going to make sure those measures are in place this year, and we encourage everybody to come out and enjoy that. And then we're going to post the route and everything on our social media probably coming up this week. Right? This week? Yes.
Okay.
Has to be this week because we're running out of days. No, won't
right.
be any good. We'll do it on the 2nd.
And the regular bus service is suspended for that day, right? But we do have a route for people if they want to, if they park down here, they can, and walk down there, they can ride a bus back to, yeah. Okay. And that will be on Facebook somewhere, I assume. Somewhere? Okay. Okay, Mr. Rick.
Nothing, Madam Mayor.
Councilmember Geek? Nothing. Councilmember Estes?
Nothing.
Councilmember Hinton?
Nothing for the group.
Councilmember Hertzberg?
Nothing.
Councilmember Duncan?
I went online and just wanted people to know here in Fountain, there's nearly $2 billion in Colorado's unclaimed property trust fund, and it's money that may belong to you or your neighbors, and it's not the state or the government. So I went on there and clicked in my address, and there were 2 pages of people that lived here in Fountain. So it's really real, and you can go on there. I found one person that I did know, and I called them, and I think it was $10, but every bit adds up, right? So go on that website and look to see, and you can type in Colorado unclaimed property and see, if you didn't cash a check, if your bank, there's all types of different ways that they have where unclaimed property for people here in Fountain. So just wanted to put that out there, and you can go on there and see if there's anything there for you. I also attended the district board meeting of directors for our watershed district on Friday via Zoom. It's held here at in the chamber, and they were talking about the Lower Arkansas Valley Water Conservation District, and they were talking about things. They were giving kudos to Colorado Springs for the pushbacks on the annexation in Colorado Springs. They were talking about our future with our aquifers. And one of the things that we probably don't get to think about is our food securities. And they are talking about that acres are drying up and our farmland is drying up. And when are we going to have this conversation? So that was good information that we had. His name was Jack Global, and he was the one that was doing the presentation, and he is the Lower Arkansas Valley Water Conservatory District. I got it on my thing because I couldn't find paper. So, and then they also talked about our sophomore erosion. We've been having a lot of rain and a lot of storms, and they said that it's holding up. And I even went over there to look, and it is. So it is working out. They did additional rock work for stabilization, and Sophomore Drive outreach was at the Fountain Nature Center, and they have photos of the earthwork that was done. So if you go to the Nature Center, you can see they had an official ribbon cutting on June 30th with the contractors. But one of the things they did talk about was that homeowners along the creek were dumping debris in the creek, and so we just want to be conscious about that. And there's costs with that. There's serious issues, so if we could not use the creek to dump our debris, that would be great. So just wanted to put that out there.
Good point. All right. Okay, it is the busy time of year where it seems like all the meetings are getting kicked back going again. I met with the CEO of Care and Share and talked to him about concerns in the general community for food security for people. And he sent us a flyer that I noticed we've printed some off that are available down in City Hall. If you go to the Care and Share website and you just click on the bar on the right-hand side that says Find Food, you put in your zip code and it will give you all the food pantries that are supported by Care and Share within our community. So I think Scott, did we have 6 down here? 4 or 6 down here, and then some in Security in Widefield, but several down here. And then it gives you their current address and the hours of operation, so you're not trying to describe to somebody, well, I think this one's open then, and make a right at the stop sign and follow the 2 trees down, and, so it's just really helpful. So find food. Stopped by the Cheyenne Mountain Shooting Complex and had some fun the other day. And they have a lot of great specials, and this is right in our backyard. They have weekly specials for senior citizens, DOD civilians, veterans, and first responders, $10 mission all day. And I'll give these to you, Chief. And senior citizen discount, I'll say every Thursday, $10. So right in our backyard, you don't have to go very far if you want to take some aggressions out on the range, right? All righty. And, but sometimes we forget about the things right in our own backyard. Scott, I just got an email right before the meeting started. I'd love to get out to the community on a teen traffic safety summit. They're looking for new, people are learning to drive. And so I'll send you that information. It's going to be September 12th from 8:30 to 2:30. And they're even offering transportation and notes for if you go and you miss school. So 2 good things they're offering, right? Pikes Peak Area Council Government, we met. We did pass the 10-year CDOT plan that we rejected the month before, and I think we had some improvements on it from the first 10-year plan that they did, so we have some more planning going on for some road capacity improvements when the money comes along, not necessarily in Fountain, but in the whole region. Shield 616 came to town, and they gave 12 of our officers chest and back armor plates, brand new ones. And then I spent the day up at the Air Force Academy at the wildfire tabletop exercise, and they really, really interesting. I mean, thousands of years of knowledge in that room with people that were there. Very interesting, and I did kind of chuckle, though, when they were worrying about 5,000 cadets getting them off base, and I know that's a real concern, but then I'm thinking, we got 50,000 people next door to us that we have to get off in an emergency. So, but it's a great start for the community, and it was very, very interesting. And the last thing I would like to do is I would really like to give Scott a hats off to our staff. I was in the office one day, and a gentleman called in. I don't know, gentleman, it's not an appropriate word. A citizen called in and was very disrespectful to our staff. The language was unacceptable, the cussing, the swearing, the name-calling that went on, and I want to give a hats off to Joni and Christy and everybody else who was in there. They would say, we're going to get off the phone, we're not going to you don't swear at us, we're done. And he would call immediately back, and I don't know how many times he called back. And the last call, 6 times, last call ended with, I'm on my way to City Hall. And that's why we have security, folks. That's why we have security, and it all worked. But the thing that made me really, really sad is during those phone calls, he had children with him, and when he came down here, he had children with him. We have got to do better, folks. We have got, those little ears are listening. But hats off to the staff. They did a great job, professionally trained. We're very polite the whole time, and so good job, everybody. So just take a deep breath, everybody, before you call, right? And calling back 6 times might not be a good idea. So anyways, all right. That takes us to the consent agenda. We have items A, B, and C on the consent agenda. All items listed on consent agenda are considered routine and will be approved with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of those items unless a council member or citizen so requests, in which case the item may be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately at the discretion of council. I do know on item A, we do need to whoever makes the motion, do the city council minutes as amended. There was a couple of very minor changes that we needed to make in those that were done. So, right? Okay, so items A, B, and C. And what would council like to do? Councilmember Hinton?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception, obviously at item A, and approve of the minutes of the minutes of that.
Amended minutes.
Amended minutes, wow.
I know.
Say that 3 times.
Yes.
At this time.
Okay, we have a motion, and Councilmember Rick.
Second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further deliberation? Seeing none, please vote. We're just waiting for the magic screen. There we go.
There it goes.
All right.
7 yes, motion carried.
All righty. And that takes us on to item 8A, second reading of ordinance number 1813, an ordinance submitting a charter amendment to the electors of the city of Fountain at the coordinated election to be held November 4th, 2025, relating to simplification and clarification of the charter pertaining to publishing or publication of notices, ordinance, and other documents of the city. Ms. Carneal.
Hello, Mayor and Council. The proposed charter amendment would update the charter language to allow official city publications to be distributed through digital or physical print that is circulated within the city. After further research, staff has determined that even with the change of the language in the charter, state statute still requires specific legal notices to be printed in newspaper print form. So the change would be beneficial, would not be beneficial. It would not fulfill the publication requirements required at the state level. And so at this time, it would not give us any cost savings at this time. I just wanted the council to be aware of that prior to this second reading.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sounds like CML maybe needs to look at that, Mr. CML board member.
Discussions on that very issue.
Okay, all righty. With that, what would council like to do, realizing that we don't really want to pass this, we just want to let it die, so.
I have a question, Madam
Okay,
Apologize, but I need to ask the city attorney a question. And this just came to me, and I apologize for not bringing it up earlier. Clerk said state law says we have to do this as a city. Okay? But we're a home rule city. Does this apply, does that state law still apply to us? Because it seems to me how we publish notices is our business, not the state's business. But I'm not an attorney, so I'm asking you.
So the research into the subject yielded sparse results, to say the least. There was no case law addressing the issue on point in the instance of a home rule municipality. What case law does exist out there all points to publication being required in a regional newspaper, and again, doesn't address the issue of home rule authority. I think the argument could be made that publication of official notices, ordinances, could be a matter of statewide concern, given that people who travel through the city could still be influenced by those ordinances as they travel through the city. But again, there's nothing on point in case law or statutory law that addresses that apparent conflict. Suffice to say, that's not the only area where home rule authority and state statute appear to conflict, and so it's something that probably has yet to be determined and yet to be challenged. But at this time, there's no clear definitive guidance from the legislature or from the courts as to how this might conflict or apply or not apply with home rule authority.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate your time. Sorry, Madam Mayor, I just,
no, that's okay. Scott, I would like to look at maybe working with CML and presenting that as a bill this year. All right, because things exist that didn't exist when these laws and statutes were passed many, many years ago. With that, what would council like to do? Okay, motion, what am I trying to say here? Fred, I caught your ordinance fails for lack of a motion. All righty, that takes us on to item 9, new business. 9A, consideration of items removed from the consent agenda. There were none. Item 9B, I'm opening a public hearing and resolution of 25-036, a resolution approving an amended and restated service plan for the Cross Creek Metropolitan District. Ms. Martinez.
Good evening, Christy Martinez with the City of Fountain Planning Department. We will be considering the amended and restated service plan for the Cross Creek Metro District tonight. The service plans for Metro Districts very rarely come before City Council, so I'm going to do a very quick overview of what Metro District is and the purpose of a service plan for those who may not be familiar with it. A Metro District is a statutory authority that in some instances, the developers start before there's any homes that are constructed on the property as a funding mechanism through property taxes to help fund public improvements upfront for that development for the developers to pay their way, but also provides a funding mechanism on the back end through property taxes as those residents move in and utilize those services, parks, recreation, other services for the operation and maintenances of those districts. It allows them, the district has the statutory power to assess fees and taxes, to issue the debt for the payment of those services, and then to provide the operations in perpetuity for those services. In the instance of the city, where the statutory state statute does give authority to municipalities to review the Metro District service plans, which is basically their guiding documents for how much debt's going to be issued, when that debt is going to be discharged or paid off, what services are going to be paid, any fees that go into it. But it is not any municipal tax dollars that are paid, so as the overarching budget for the city is not impacted, this is a separate quasi-governmental entity that serves a very specific area. As those districts are established, it does go through an election process for the owners within that district. Is that a very good summary? Does anybody have a question on what a service plan is or a Metro District? It was very quick, but we do see them occasionally, and I try to just do a quick refresher every time because we do only come across it every once in a while. Okay. Getting into the item at hand, this is for the Cross Creek Metro District, which is established through a Title 32 statutory district. It was originally organized in 2003 before any homes were constructed, and the original service plan was adopted in 2003 and subsequently went to that November 2003 election. The purpose of the Metro District is, as I mentioned, the funding mechanism for the installation of public improvements and the operation of public improvements, amenities needed for that development. Some of those could be the installation of water, sewer lines, and ongoing park recreation, mosquito services and prevention, and in some instances, they do serve as some HOA and covenant enforcement actions. This district encompasses approximately 406 acres. It includes both residential and commercial land uses as well as open space, and it extends to the far northern boundaries along Fountain Mesa Road, just kind of north of the Lowe's Home Improvement, and then down south to CNS Road. So on the map on the right-hand side, you can kind of see the northern boundary. So Lowe's is in approximately this area. CNS Road is the east-west road along the southern boundary, and then encompasses the Hale Reservoir along their eastern boundary. There is some undeveloped commercial land, primarily in the northern area, but overall the district boundaries have been fully built out. The proposed amendment, as I said, was originally approved in 2003. The purpose of this amended and restated plan is to clarify the district's authority to impose the operation and maintenance mill levy, which again is collected on the individual property taxes of those lots that are within the district boundaries, and to also adjust the mill levy adjustment. So in 2003, the Gallagher Amendment was in place, and it is just rectifying some of those adjustments that have taken place and ensuring that the maximum operation and maintenance mill levy is still established at the 10 mills, and that's what will be collected moving forward through future property tax amendments. The amendment also includes the acknowledgement of the existing intergovernmental agreements. There are 3 or 4 existing intergovernmental agreements with the Cross Creek Metro District. One is between the district and the city, and then there's some other intergovernmental agreements between the Cross Creek Metro District and the Mesa Ridge number 1 and number 2 Metro Districts as well. Some of those agreements go into park maintenance, park improvements for the regional park, the Cross Creek Regional Park, as well as addressing the funding mechanisms for the Hale Reservoir improvements that are needed. Per the state statute, there are statutory findings that need to be found. So those 9 criteria were included in the council commentary in your packet. Staff does find that the amended plan does comply with those statutory findings. It does also include statutory public notice requirements to be provided within a specified time period to all governing bodies and special districts within a 3-mile radius. It also requires publication in the local newspaper and then notification of all property owners within the district boundaries. That was also included within the council commentary and packet with that supporting documentation to show that the public notice did occur within the specified time period. I think I skipped a slide. Nope. Staff does not oppose the approval tonight of Resolution 25036, approving the Cross Creek Metro District amended and restated service plan. However, City Council does have the ability to either approve conditionally, or deny the service plan if they do not find that it is in substantial compliance of the review criteria outlined in the commentary and in state statutes. Are there any questions for staff?
Councilmember Rick?
So just to the east of Hale Reservoir, there's an open area that has been, that we have zoned for planned unit development. Once they start building in there, do they automatically become a part of the Cross Creek Metro District? Do they have to apply to join? How does that work, and what's the plan there?
So the district boundaries are established in this kind of bluish-green shaded area. It's not anticipated to have any additional lands included into the district boundaries. The area that you're referring to is directly east of the shaded blue boundary of the Cross Creek Metro District, kind of in this area. And that area is actually encompassed by a separate metro district. I believe that's the Mesa Ridge Metro District. Which number filing, I'm not sure. There's 5 of them. But there is a metro district that would encompass that area. So it would not be petitioning for inclusion into this particular metro district.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Just to re-clarify, we're not raising the mill levy.
Correct.
We're just basically, they're updating the plan, but the mill levy stays the same.
Correct. Their operation and mill levy would still remain at the 10 mills, which is also the aggregate for the operation and maintenance.
And for any mill levy to be raised, would have to go to the voters of that district, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, I'll get to you in a minute, please. Okay. All righty. So, okay. I want to make sure we say that publicly. It looks there, it can be confusing that it looks like the mill's being raised and it's not being raised. So I just want to make sure that we state that. Okay. All right, did you have anybody else here who wanted to make any comments?
There is representation from the Cross Creek Metro District. Their legal counsel and their district manager are also available if there are any questions
All
for
right,
them
hang on
as well.
just a second, ma'am. You can go ahead and walk up there, but, so does anybody have any questions up here for Christie on this part right here? Does anybody in the audience have any questions for Christie yet? Okay, sorry, whatever. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Tate Crosby. I am part of the White firm of WBA, Local Government Law, and we serve as general counsel for the Cross Creek Metropolitan District. The reason why we submitted this amended and restated service plan is because the service plan for the district as approved in 2003 was very outdated and did not accurately reflect the district's authority and powers as a Title 32 district. While we have not requested an increase to the referenced mill levy, which is 10 mills for operations and maintenance, and also a 10 mill maximum for the total aggregate mill levy, we have requested that in uniformity with the City of Fountain model service plan, that the district have the authority to adjust its mill levy in response to legislative and statutory changes or adjustments to assessed valuation. And so what that means is when there are changes affecting how much revenue 10 mills might collect, the district board has the discretion to review and make an adjustment to that mill levy so that the revenue remains neutral, so that the district is able to collect funds that are sufficient to provide and operate the public services. So in our FAQ that we made available to the members of the district and the members of the public, we did indicate that that might result in a slightly moving target in terms of a mill levy, but that adjustment has to be couched in statutory changes and references. So there is documentation to support that, and there's no kind of giant leaps that aren't supported with reasoning.
And you would, of course, have lots of meetings with your residents and discuss this all
Absolutely.
and
Yep.
and show them the need. Okay.
Yep.
Councilmember Rick?
How many mills are you charging right now?
Right now, the district is imposing the maximum, an unadjusted 10 mills for operations and maintenance.
Okay, and you, by state statutes, you can't go higher than 10, is that correct?
Without the service plan authorization, we cannot go higher than 10. At the organizational election, the electorate did allow for an adjustment to be made, but the service plan needs to also allow the district to make that adjustment as well.
Okay. Let's say your board makes an adjustment. Does that have to come before council for approval?
No, it does not. It's contained within the service plan authority and the electoral debt, or not debt, the electoral taxation authority.
Okay. Is that under the old plan or this new plan that you're proposing we approve?
The adjustment?
Yeah.
The adjustment authorization will come from this amended and restated service plan. The original service plan didn't even explicitly authorize the district to impose the mill levy. It merely referenced that the district would be imposing operations mill levy.
Okay, that's all I have, Madam Mayor.
So what I'm hearing is if you were to raise the mill levy, do you go to the citizens for a vote for that? Is that just an automatic raise by your committee?
So it is a increase that the electorate already approved as part of the district's organizational election. And before any mill levy is certified or authorized, the district does have to publish notice of a budget hearing and present that budget to the public and to any interested members who show up, and that discussion is included in the meeting minutes. So it's not something that requires a separate electoral authorization, since that would be cost prohibitive and kind of defeat the purpose of allowing the district to adjust its mill levy in order to collect sufficient revenues for operations.
Okay, I'm gonna concede my time. Okay.
And one thing I would just like to point out is this language is pulled from the City of Fountain's model service plan that any metro districts that have come to the city council for approval in the last probably 3 or so years, that language is included in the model service plan. So this is just an effort to remain consistent.
Councilmember Rick?
Ms. Carneal, is this something we pass tonight if we pass it and it's approved, or does this have to come back for a second reading?
No, this is a resolution. It's just one single reading.
Okay. Okay, we're still in the public hearing, so I have no.
Okay. I'd like to go ahead and open up to the audience and see
Absolutely.
if anybody in the audience has any questions, and then we'll bring it back up here after that, okay?
Yep.
All right, thank you. Okay, push the center, yeah, turn it on and off again. There you go. And state your name for the record, please.
Bill Dupay, D-U-P-E-Y. I live in the Cross Creek Metropolitan District, I think that's what it's called. I'm a little confused. I heard you ask, Mayor, do we have to go to the voters to do a tax levy or a mill levy increase? You said yes. I'm sorry, I don't remember your name, but you said during the process, and I'm referring to the attorney, that it's already been approved by the electorate that the mill levy could be raised already. Am I misunderstanding
No,
something
you're-
somewhere?
You're correct, and I think we just had a misunderstanding in the way the question was asked, so I believe the information that she's giving out is correct.
Okay.
So, yeah, and I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Tate Crosby.
Okay, Ms. Crosby, yeah.
Okay, so our mill levy could potentially go up is what I'm hearing.
Yes. But they would have to come to you, and they would need to show you the budget and the reason why the mill levy would be raised, and they can only raise it to provide the services that they provide.
Correct, but that's not what I understood. I thought you said the electorate already approved that you could change the
So
levy.
the board is the electorate that
Okay.
would be making that decision, not us.
No, I
The
understand it's not the
Metro-
council.
I want to make sure everybody
No, no.
understands. Yeah, the Metro District Board. And if Ms. Tate, if you could come back up again for a second. The board, are there members of the Metro District on that board? And how would someone get on that board if they were interested in being part of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the board right now consists of 3 resident members. There are a total of 5 spots on the board, and if you are interested in learning more about the Metro District or serving on the board of directors, you can reach out to the district's manager, Elise Flagel. She is in attendance here, and she can be in touch, and that would consist of submitting a letter of interest or something like that to serve on the Metro District, and then the board would consider whether an appointment would be made. There are a couple of criteria in order to qualify an individual, or that need to be met in order for an individual to serve on the board.
Okay, thank you.
And to address the question about taxation, in the organizational election, which took place in 2003, the electorate at that time authorized the district to adjust the mill levy for changes in statute affecting how much revenue was collected under a certain mill levy. So that was made. However, the district service plan does not authorize the district to make that adjustment, and that authorization needs to exist both in the service plan and and have been approved by the electorate. So we're looking for kind of step 2 of that process. Yep.
Okay.
So that answered my question. that
Okay.
It was in 2003 before we moved into the Metro District.
Got it, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you coming though and asking. It's always good to get it asked here. All right, is there anybody else in the audience that has any questions? Please come down and state your name for the record.
Good evening, Connie Weisenhunt. Christy, could you go back on your slideshow? There's some wordage I was going to ask you about. I just didn't memorize it real quick.
I'm not sure where you want me to go, so if you give me a little direction about what, or.
Yeah, so there was some wording that said that the council had privy to some 9.
The 9 criteria, the
Yeah,
statutory.
is that not public knowledge?
It's outlined in the state statute, and it was also included in the commentary, the 9 criteria, which the commentaries are posted on the website.
Oh, I did not know that. Thank you.
Yep, the statutory section is this one, if you wanted to look it up in the
Is there a
Colorado Revised
possibility you
Statute.
could just briefly state that, or is that too much?
The section of the,
The 9 criteria?
Sure.
And if not, that's okay. I just was curious if that's something important that only councils, and so I didn't go look for it, but I was just curious what it was for.
Yeah, I can read it into
Okay.
the record. So the 9 criteria, the first one is there's sufficient existing and projected need for organized service in the area to be served by the district. The existing service in the area to be served by the district is inadequate for present and projected needs. The district is capable of providing economical and sufficient service to the area within its proposed boundaries. The area to be included in the district does have and will have the financial ability to discharge the proposed indebtedness on a reasonable basis. Adequate service are not and will not be available to the area through the city or other existing municipal or quasi-municipal corporations, including existing special districts within a reasonable time on a comparable basis. The facility and service standards of the district are compatible with the facility and service standards of the city. The service plan is in substantial compliance with the city master plan. The proposal is in compliance with any duly adopted county, regional, or state long-range water quality management plan for the area, and the creation of the district was and continues to be in the best interests of the area proposed to be served.
Okay, and those were published in the city packet that was available on the city website under the background information for this item. So, okay, any other questions from anybody in the audience? Okay, I'm going to bring it back up to the council if you have any additional questions before I close the public hearing, and then we have to make a decision. Okay. All right, seeing none, I am closing the public hearing for Resolution 25-036. What would council like to do with this item? Councilmember Geek?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 25-036.
Okay, Councilmember Hertzberg.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further deliberation? Seeing none, please vote.
I have 5 yes, 2 no. Councilmember Duncan and Mayor Pro Tem Rick voting no. Motion carried.
Okay, thank you. That takes us on to item 9C, Resolution 25-037, a resolution granting historic site designation to the 1905 Woodman Hall. Mr. Trainer.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. What you have.
Excuse me,
Oh,
Mr.
sorry.
Trainer.
I need to recuse myself from this because I signed on to the documents, and so I'm going to step down into the audience.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. What you have before you is Resolution 25-037. And what it is it's our first resolution to designate a property as a City of Fountain historic designation, or give historic designation to a site. I'm going to go through this presentation you have up here, what you'll see in front of you. This is a presentation that recently on August 6th went to our Planning Commission. And sort of to give a little bit of background, the City Council, a few months ago, adopted a new process in order to create local historic designation sites. That was a process that was spearheaded by Councilmember Estes, came to the City Council, and the idea is to really create this process whereby we can really save and value some of these historic locations in our community without going to the state or the national process. So that's the process the City Council adopted a few months ago, went through the Planning Commission with this specific request for the 1905 Woodman Hall, which sits across the street from City Hall. I'm going to give a little bit of background information, but you can see on that from the presentation, that's the photo of the site right there, to give you an idea. A little bit of background, that resolution that the City Council adopted was 2519, which created a number of criteria. There are actually 9 criteria the City Council looked at to say, hey, if we want to designate a site as a local historic site, what are those criteria that we want to look at? The Fountain Urban Renewal Authority, who owns Woodman Hall, submitted an application under those criteria, and the Planning Commission reviewed it and recommended approval of that. A little bit of information about Woodman Hall. It's been used as, and again, it sits across from City Hall. It's been used for commercial, personal services, retail, restaurant, mercantile, civic uses, butcher shop, post office, et cetera. You can see a couple neat old historic photos on that. Constructed approximately May 6, 1905, and was built for the Building Association of Camp 231 Woodmen of the World. Excuse me. The 2 specific criteria that I want to hit, and this, by the way, this section right here is pulled right out of the council adopted resolution, and it talks about the criteria for designation of the property. I'm going to specifically, without going through all 9 criteria that we believe this property qualifies for, I'm going to really hit the 2 that we really want to highlight. So you'll see on this page the criteria that it reflects. One of the criteria is that reflects cultural, political, military, economic, or social heritage. And the position from the applicant, from FURA, is that its social and cultural heritage is evident in the multitude of communal and commercial functions served over the years. And it gives a list of several different examples and by the way, roller rink. It sort of shocked me when I saw roller rink, like, really? That doesn't seem big enough. But it's really pretty interesting to see the various uses that have been in that building. And you can see right there, when it was a post office in the 1940s, that bottom right photo, it's pretty cool building, really, really cool history for Fountain. The second criteria that I'm going to hit on, if the clicker lets me go there. Okay. Chris, can you go, if it doesn't let me, can you go to the next slide? This clicker's not letting me. Okay. B4, that it embodies a distinctive design, construction, or style. And so this is really related to the architectural significance. And Woodman Hall possesses some distinctive exterior features of the Italianate architectural style, which includes a recessed corner entry with column posts, large ground floor display window on the west side, pitched roof with a large overhanging eaves. Then it has several unique architectural features, including the lozenge pattern window, and you can see, by the way, some pictures of the windows right there, and then the half moon glass window as well. So those are the two primary criteria that were taken before the Planning Commission when they met August 6th. Can you go to the next one? It's not letting me click. They reviewed it and recommended approval to the City Council. So what you have before you now is a resolution 2537, which would grant this property designation as the Fountain's first locally designated historic site. And without reading that resolution, I'm going to wrap up right there. Any questions you might have?
From council. I think this, since this is our first, I'm okay with reading the resolution into the record.
Okay.
Because I think that's pretty cool, that this is our first one, where we're setting this whole program up, so.
Okay. Would you like me to read that?
Yes, please.
Okay. Whereas the City of Fountain recognizes the importance of preserving select buildings and sites for their cultural, historical, architectural, and/or environmental heritage, and whereas on June 10th, 2025, the City Council adopted a Resolution 2519 establishing local historic site designation criteria for the city, and whereas the 1905 Woodman Hall property has an inception date circa 1905 as erected by the Building Association of Camp 231 Woodmen of the World, and whereas the property has historically functioned as a commercial and civic center, including such uses as a general store, missionary meeting hall, post office, movie theater, performance theater, roller rink, and furniture store. And whereas the property was purchased by the Fountain Urban Renewal Authority of FURA in 2018 as an opportunity site to help revitalize the Old Town District and reestablish community identity, pride, and economic vitality. And whereas the property may only become eligible to apply for a 2025 State Historic Fund competitive grant if it has local, state, or federal historic designation status. And whereas the Planning Commission reviewed the request from FURA for recommendation of an official designation of 1905 Woodman Hall as a local historic site at their August 6, 2025 regular meeting. And whereas the Planning Commission voted 5-1 to recommend Woodman Hall to be designated as a local historic site. And whereas the City Council reviewed the request for local historic site designation at their August 26, 2025 regular meeting, that's tonight. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Fountain, Colorado, that the 1905 Woodman Hall be granted the designation of a local historic site. That is a request in front of the City Council right now.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you. If anybody's got a photo of the roller rink, I'd love to see it.
I know,
I mean,
that'd be cool.
All right, are there any comments from anybody up here in the council? Any comments from any of the citizens? Anyone? Please come down and state your name for the record. I think it's pretty cool that it used to be a butcher shop, and then we have something very similar coming back in there now when it's just being designated.
Connie Weisenhunt. Scott, does that mean that that building can never be purchased, correct?
No, that actually does not mean that at all.
Oh.
No. No, it creates a designation that then we can use when we're going out and applying for grant funds. But certainly it could be sold. Yeah.
Okay, and then, so currently, like next year, it will be available for rent or is in contract for 5 or 7 year contract. So the renters, do they have like certain criteria of what they can or cannot do in that building?
Well, the really nice thing about creating a local historic designation is it gives a local community a lot of control over what they allow and disallow. If you're going after national historic designation, you're really limited on what you can and cannot do. So this really allows us to hold the reins on what's allowed in there or not. So we're not creating right now any significant barriers to change. I mean, they need to upgrade the electrical, they need to do those, change the paint. The kind of things that may not be allowed with the national historic designation are allowed under local historic. Because it really is up to the City Council to decide what kind of limitations they want to place on it. And right now, they haven't created significant limitations. Yeah.
All right, nobody else? I'm going to bring it back up here. What would council like to do with this? Councilmember Hertzberg.
I'd like to move to approve Resolution 25037, granting historic site designation to the 1905 Woodman Hall.
Okay, Councilmember Hinton.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further deliberation? Seeing none, please vote.
6 yes, motion carried.
All right, thank you very much. And where's Councilmember Estes run off to? Could somebody tell her come back in?
Ollie, ollie, oxen free.
That works too. Okay, all righty. That takes us on to item 9D, Resolution 25-038, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Fountain, Colorado, supporting home rule municipalities in litigation against the state and asserting home rule authority over local land use and zoning. And this is my item. So, this is, the city of Fountain a few years ago, a few years ago, decided to become a home rule authority. And one of the things when you have home rule authority is so that you can have, authorize your own land use things in the way you want your city to look. In the last year, the state of Colorado has enacted several laws and executive orders that are taking away our home rule authority in terms of being able to what we want our city to look like in terms of zoning and planning. 6 cities who are significantly impacted by all of those laws that have been passed, the city of Arvada, Aurora, Glendale, Greenwood Village, Lafayette, and Westminster have filed suit against the state of Colorado seeking injunctions to block the enforcement of House Bill 241304, House Bill 241313, and the Governor Executive Order D, 2025-005. We're not joining the lawsuit because that's super expensive. But what I'm proposing tonight is that we pass a resolution supporting those 6 cities in that lawsuit and just telling them that we agree with what they're doing. And this is why those home rule cities are suing. They're defending home rule authority. Under Title 10, Section 6 of the Colorado Constitution, home rule cities have constitutionally protected authority over local matters such as land use and zoning. These bills are seen as state encroachment on that authority. These are one-size-fits-all mandates. The imposed density and parking rules do not accommodate varied local circumstances like infrastructure needs, geographic or fiscal limits, and community character. For example, Greenwood Village notes that the density mandate would require up to 10 times current housing in some zones, and Westminster estimates it could force acceptance of tens of thousands of new units, more than its entire current housing stock. This is loss of public input and retrospective disruption. House Bill 1313 eliminates public hearings for many multifamily projects and may override existing agreements or covenants, raising due process and retroactivity concerns. Retaliation via funding. The executive order is viewed as punitive, as a bully tactic to force compliance by threatening to keep essential funding from cities. Constitutional claims. The lawsuit asserts violations of home rule constitutional protections, due process, initiative, and referendum rights, contract and anti-retroactivity clauses. So I'm recommending support for this because it protects Fountain's local control. If the state can override other municipalities, even in different contexts, Fountain may face similar overreach in the future. Preserving home rule is an investment in Fountain's autonomy. Number 2, safeguard community planning and character. Fountain has worked hard to develop its zoning and land use frameworks through public input and community vision. Imposed density and development rules could undermine those efforts. 3, avoid funding retaliation. Though Fountain may not yet be a target, the precedent of losing discretionary funding for noncompliance poses a risk. Upholding fair funding practices benefits Fountain's financial stability. 4, support broader municipal solidarity. Supporting this lawsuit aligns Fountain with other home rule cities defending constitutional principles. Strength in numbers amplifies local government voices at the state level. Number 5, housing solutions can be local and flexible. Fountain is committed to reasonable housing growth, but top-down uniform mandates ignore local capacity, infrastructure realities, and resident engagement. Local solutions must reflect local needs. So I have a resolution here for the council tonight as a proposal that we support those 6 cities in their, again, not monetarily, right? Just saying that we're behind you and we agree with what you're doing because we need to be able to control what's going on in our cities and our communities. I can read the resolution if anybody would like, or we can discuss it at this point. Council, I saw your hand, but oh, there. I've got a delay on my thing. You push the mic and it takes a few seconds to, okay, Councilmember
So
Duncan?
the question that I have on this resolution is, you're saying that we don't, clarifying that we're not using any of the taxpayers' money from Fountain. Are we using any resources?
Nope.
Okay.
No, this is just like a letter of support that we will send to those cities saying that we agree with what you're doing. That's essentially it. And if they want to stand up in court and say, we have resolutions from X amount of cities that are supporting us in this endeavor, then maybe that would help them with their case.
And we really modeled that resolution after Thornton's resolution. Thornton just, it's really a moral support kind of resolution.
Right. Questions? Any questions for anybody in the audience? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and read it into the record so that everybody's clear what we're doing here. Resolution 25-038. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Fountain, Colorado, supporting home rule municipalities in litigation against the state and asserting home rule authority over local land use and zoning. Whereas the residents of the City of Fountain have elected to become a home rule municipality and have a duly approved governing charter, and whereas the charter of the City of Fountain, Colorado provides the city shall have all powers to local self-government and home rule and all powers possible for a city to have under the Constitution and laws of the state of Colorado. And whereas under the provisions of Colorado Constitution, Article 10, Section 6, zoning and land use planning have been designated as purely local and municipal matters to be locally controlled. And whereas home rule municipalities and their local government partners bear the responsibility to evaluate the potential of the impacts of proposed land uses on their communities, including the ability to ensure adequate water supply and utility services, provide for public safety, schools, and recreational facilities, maintain sufficient and safe transportation, pedestrian, and other infrastructure to support increased population or intensified land use, align development with the community's goals, preserve historic and cultural resources, and protect open space and the environments. And whereas Fountain City Council strongly believes these responsibilities are best met by listening to the voices of the residents of the city most impacted by its decisions, and whereas the state enacted House Bill 1304, minimum parking requirements, and House Bill 1313, housing and transit-oriented communities, that purport to place statewide mandates governing aspects of land use and zoning legislation on a limited group of home rule municipalities. And whereas on May 16, 2025, Governor Polis issued Executive Order D 2025-005, declaring that municipalities failing to comply with the above referenced bills and other land use legislation from previous sessions will be deprioritized for competitive or discretionary funding opportunities, including grants, incentive programs, contracts, loans, and tax credits. Whereas on August 13, 2025, Governor Polis issued Executive Order D 2025-0011, redirecting state and federal funds from their legislatively intended purposes based on his administration's arbitrary view of municipalities' compliance with so-called strategic growth laws. And whereas 6 home rule municipalities, including Aurora, Arvada, Westminster, Greenwood Village, Glendale, and Lafayette, filed a lawsuit against the state of Colorado, Governor Polis, the Colorado Department of Local Affairs, and its executive director seeking a declaration that HB 241313 and HB 241304 violate the Colorado Constitution and seeking injunctions against enforcement of the bills in Executive Order D 2025-005, and whereas City Council desires to express its support for the plaintiff municipalities and the goals in the lawsuit. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Fountain, Colorado as follows. 1, the City of Fountain affirms its longstanding support of the powers granted by the Constitution of the State of Colorado, which includes home rule authority over zoning and land planning. 2, the City of Fountain supports the plaintiff, home rule municipalities in their litigation efforts against the state, seeking injunctions against the enforcement of certain housing bills from the 2024 legislative session, HB 24-1304 minimum parking requirements, and HB 24-1313 housing and transit-oriented communities, and Executive Order D 25005 and declarations that the same are in violation of the Constitution of the State of Colorado. That is my motion before you. What would council like to do? Councilmember Hertzberg?
I'd like to move to approve Resolution 25038 in support of Home Rule Authority.
Councilmember Henton?
I second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further deliberation? Seeing none, please vote.
Seven yes, motion carried.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, I really appreciate that. We need to take a stand. That takes us on to item 10, City Council agenda requests. Anybody have any tonight? Okay, I don't see any. Okay, item 11, announcement of an executive session. None?
None tonight, thank you.
Woo-hoo.